with all the latest big talking points, news and discussion from the football world. This is Football Central. Go.
Hello and welcome to the Football Central Roundup of the match week, or whatever it is nowadays, with all these different cancellations and new dates because of COVID. My name is Jordan, also known as JLIWheels, and joining me today, I'm pretty sure he's back to his full match fitness. I don't actually know, he gives off mixed messages. It's the man whose channel this is on, Mr. TubeMix. Hello, mate. How are you?
Hello, I'm good.
And also joining me is one of my longest companions I was trying to think of something clever to say, but I'm too tired. Working from home this week is a different sort of challenge. Speaking of challenging individuals, it's my friend, Mr. Sam Taylor. How are you, mate?
Well, thank you. And your star of the show is back, yes. Samuel Taylor, I am here. So,
all the good things about this show are back, and so is Will.
So, Jordan's missed a lot out, so let me just cover. Or have you not finished yet?
No. I think I was kind of done there because I haven't got the energy to do this.
Right. No, that's not the attitude we have. Sorry, everyone. But JLIWheels is just finding out what it's like to do a full day's work.
It's not like I haven't been doing that for nearly a year now.
So yeah, but you've obviously winged it. So anyway, so
In that way.
What we haven't told you about this show, or the JLIWheels' terrible intro didn't include, is that yes, we do a roundup of all the week's matches, and we will also be doing our predictions for next week's for this weekend's matches. Yeah, I'm looking over the last round of fixtures, and if you want to get in touch with us, please write a comment. I'm sure Mr. TubeMix will keep us very updated.
Please, if you're gonna write a comment, please make it abusive towards Will. Then it's interesting. But no,
speaking of Will, we better go over to him. Sorry, I cut you off there.
It's okay. All I was, it's alright, darling, don't worry about it. All I was gonna say was, yes, my intro was a little poor, but no poorer than our show's our host's usual performances on the show, and that is no better segue than to pass over to the man, the myth, the dickhead, Mr. TubeMix. On to you, sir.
Thank you very much, JLIWheels. Right, hello everyone. I am back after my break, and hopefully all refreshed and ready to go.
Even though he wasn't going to do it, what he does to do it on her own again, will expose. Hashtag help. Hashtag save Football Central.
Yeah. Forget Save the Polar Bears, it's Save Football Central. Right, anyway.
So let's quickly go through some of the Europa League results tonight. So Roma have beaten Sporting
Lisbon.
No, Braga. Braga?
Oh, Braga. Right.
Oh, Braga.
Jesus Christ. Do you want me to do it instead? You can't pronounce any of these. Right, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it for time's sake. I'll do it.
Okay.
Right. Where were you starting? Where have you started? Here, I can't even see that on my screen.
Oh well.
Oh
Oh.
yeah, it's
Oh
here.
well. Oh.
Right.
Never mind. We can leave them till last. Actually.
No, I'll whiz through.
Okay. Okie dokie.
So in the Europa League round of 32 or last 16, as they call it, Dynamo Kiev and
No, it's
Club
not the
Brugge.
last 16. It's not the last 16, it's last 32.
How is it? Right, I don't know. I only woke up about 20 minutes ago. Leave me alone.
32, if you cut it in half, becomes 16.
Yeah, 30. Right,
Maths was never my strongest
right.
point.
Unfortunately, Sam, unlike you, I actually passed my maths, so I do understand that. Anyway, come on, I haven't got all day. Right. Dynamo Kiev and Club Brugge drew 1-1. Bit of a shock result, but they're not on the best run of form in the last couple of games. AC Milan drew 2-2 with Red Star Belgrade. This is following their shock 2-0 defeat at Spezia in their last Serie A match week, which allowed Inter Milan to top the table. FK Krasnodar were beaten 2-3 by Dinamo Zagreb, sorry. Olympiacos.
At least I got my English.
Well, it's not English, is it? It's fucking Croatian. Olympiacos beat PSV Eindhoven 4-2, which again I think is another good result for them. Real Sociedad were smashed 4-0 by Manchester United, something I've got no doubt we'll cover at some point before the end of tonight's show. RZ, what are these? It says on here, RZ Pellets WAC. What is it? I think it's are they called? I thought it was called Wolfsburg. Oh, it is Wolfsburger, right? Yeah, it's the Austrian team. Okay, so they beat. So Wolfsburg were beaten 4-1 at home by Tottenham. Slavia Prague and Leicester drew 0-0. Braga were beaten 2-0 at home by Roma. Again, another shock result for Damari Gray's Bayer Leverkusen. They were beaten 4-3 by Young Boys of Sweden. Benfica and Arsenal drew 1-1. Salzburg were beaten 2-0 by Villarreal at home. Not Getafe. Oh, Jesus. I really am tired. Granada pulled off a shock result, beating Napoli 2-0 at home. Lille were beaten 2-1 by Ajax away from home. No, they were at home. Fucking hell.
Excuse me.
I've totally had enough. Maccabi Tel Aviv were beaten 2-0 at home by Shakhtar Donetsk. Molde and Hoffenheim drew 3-3. I'm just having a look who scored because obviously there is English interest in the Hoffenheim team. Oh, it's all right. Ryan Sessegnon didn't even play. Was he on the bench? No. And in the best result of the day, I would say, for entertainment value, Rangers beat Royal Antwerp 4-3. One that we were treated to some delight before we started.
Didn't catch that, mate. You're going to have to repeat yourself.
I said one with some amazing commentary that we were treated to just before we started. To confirm, it was, I think is it Bojan or Borsa Barisic that scored the penalty? I'm not quite sure what his first name is. The Croatian left back.
Alright. Well, you look like Scott Harfield anyway.
So yeah, that's your UEFA Europa League results at half time. What
At half time, you mean in the tie? Full,
No,
full,
don't
full,
confuse it.
full time in the match, half time in the time. With an away leg. Sorry, everyone. He's just not clarifying himself.
Yeah,
It
but
is,
I'm
yeah,
not going
no,
to turn
it
around and
is
go,
half.
oh yeah,
It is.
it's half
It,
time.
it's half time in the tie, but was full time in the matches. So all those results you just heard are full
That
time.
doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yes, full time in the match, but half time in the two-legged tie.
Alright, stop shouting at me or I'm going to fucking knock you out. But no,
Get that to
yeah.
sleep, bro.
But no, yeah, we're only joking. I think it's
Better when
been.
you're asleep.
I think. Oh, so are you, mate. I think it's been a very interesting set of games since we were last here. Um, Obviously, Man City have been as good as Man City have been. A couple of decent results for Fulham as well. Timo Werner breaking his goal drought. Go on.
Are we going through, because there were games on Tuesday night, but then we'll cover each team on Saturday because there was some extras on Tuesday. So we'll be doing about that.
I think it would be remiss of us to. Mind you, when we did it on Monday, we did talk about a lot of the games that had already gone on over the weekend. So
We didn't do anything on Monday.
what day was it then? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we did. The post match for Man United versus West Brom on the Monday.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah. So stop trying to confuse me. So well, and we covered a lot of those games then. So maybe we just
No,
go over them.
We didn't cover Tuesday and Tuesday.
No, I'm just saying that. No, we covered we spoke about at varying length some of the games.
Yeah,
like
we don't need to talk about the West Brom game.
Like obviously we covered West Brom and United. We had quite a big conversation about Fulham and Everton, and we talked about West Ham and Sheffield United, and the weird one is we didn't talk really that much about Southampton and Wolves, and I watched that one the whole way through because it was on Amazon.
Shall we start?
I think that is the best place to start, actually. So yeah, full-time result on the Saturday was Southampton 1, Wolves 2. Is it St Mary's? Our
I listened
predictions.
to it on the radio.
Our predictions were. I know I predicted a Southampton win. And I actually thought that they were going to get it because they played very well, very energetic, strung passes together well. Ings' goal was fantastically taken. Great cross by Stuart Armstrong. But Wolves, obviously, they got the penalty to equalise. And then a brilliant second goal from Pedro Neto, which I thought was one of the goals of the weekend. How he managed to get it in from that angle and the way that I'm just ignoring you. How he managed to kill it round Alex McCarthy, I thought was brilliant. Wolves.
There's only one way to describe that. Cool.
Yeah, it's only the fourth time you said it, isn't it? But no, I thought that Southampton, I don't know, they've played very well and they didn't deserve to lose it. But if you don't take the chances you're creating, it's going to happen. Especially with, a team like Wolves that can be quite deadly on the counter. I don't know. I was just gonna say before you say your bit, um, I Amazon Wolves have been on Amazon Prime quite a lot over the last couple of months, and I've seen them a few times. I watched them against Chelsea. I watched them against United, and obviously I saw them uh, on the Saturday. And they were an interesting team. They are an interesting team. I still think they miss Jimenez. I saw quite a bit of William Jose, who's the new striker on loan from, coincidentally enough, because you guys are United fans. William Jose from Sociedad, who United have just beat 4-0. I don't know, I wasn't too keen. I do quite like Fabio Silva. So, but obviously, I think because Jose's like,
It's one for the future.
yeah, because
So
Jose's like,
lot of pressure put on his young shoulders. But go on, you're on about.
no, I think so too. I think they had Patrick Catrone and brought him back from Florentina, and like that was just the perfect opportunity to give Fabio Silva a bit of a break because he's sort of been playing up front when he's only like 18, 17, however old he is. I think he is like 18. And it's like you said, it's a lot to do. Like,
Well, he's got to get used to the league and stuff. And he had a few games to see what assess, but then they didn't expect him and to be out.
yeah,
To
but
get
then
the injury he got. So I do feel a bit for him because a player can flourish in that position, but he's come from Portugal and it's very different league. Obviously.
yeah, and I think like even players that immediately hit the ground running, like Rashford, I think that was just kind of for him. It was like,
Rashford grew up in the United Academy in this country.
yeah, but it's also very difficult once you've made your mark. It's difficult to be consistent enough, and that's my point. Is like, yeah, he scored those goals in the Champions League, Europa League, whatever. I don't remember. And then he scored those 2 goals against Arsenal, and then he scored against City, and then I think it was like he was kind of on the crest of a wave a little bit, because the season after that, I don't think he sort of hit different. He sort of hit the same peak, but that's one of them where, because he is such a good player and he had such an ability, he was kind of played different places. Whereas with Fabio Silva, I think it is like you said, he's from a different country. Porto are one of the best academies in Europe. Don't get me wrong.
I agree with that.
But it still doesn't, quite translate the same for a player that I think had only played 1 or 2 games in league football with Porto before he joined Wolves for £35 million.
So where did he get a £35 million price tag then?
Because I think at the time when he scored for Wolves, he was the youngest player to score in Champions League history.
You mean for Porto?
That's it. Sorry. I really am all over the shop. I shouldn't have done this really, but it's fine, and we'll roll with it.
Sunshine.
No, it's okay. I've started, so I'll finish. It's like countdown or whatever, the chase when they say that. It's like Ruben Neves, really. Like, he was 8.
He's never sorry, but while you're on the Ruben Neves, he's a great player. But I was saying this to my dad, like, he was brilliant in the Championship. He's definitely a Premiership player, as we know. But he's never really, in the last couple of years, he's not really kicked on.
No, and I think it's because he's playing below his level at Wolves. And I think if you are a fantastic player,
I don't think he's playing below his level.
Well, I think he is. I think he is Champions League quality. I was watching him.
In
In the
our
times that
country,
I've seen him, and I think he could play for like a ideally, and it's funny enough we
Tottenham.
were talking about FIFA before. I've actually he plays in midfield for my Chelsea team in FIFA. Because I think like you said, a Chelsea, a Tottenham, and Arsenal could do with a Ruben Neves. He's got a fantastic range of passing. He's a great long shot
Maybe
hitter,
he
good
needs
with
a
good
change.
good on
Maybe
the
he just
volley,
needs
good
a
at set
change.
plays. I think he for the age he is and the team he's playing in, he's
How old
quite a
is he now?
complete
23.
23, so he's still really young in football terms. Um, but what I'm saying is like Wolves have got two of the with Moutinho, his career, the way he was obviously at Porto as well, complete midfielder, absolutely,
He
and then
gets through some games for Wolves for his age. I saw he
yeah,
got a sub the other day. Sorry, no, he wasn't in the team sheet the other day, and this was this season. And for a Premier League game, he wasn't in the squad, and it's the first time he'd not appeared since Wolves have been promoted. And I think for a player of his age, that is incredible.
I agree. He's a brilliant player and has been for a number of years. Very good at Monaco when he was there, and a fantastic midfield player. And I think his influence on Neves does shine through. I think in certain ways, Wolves have got a some parts of the team are based very much where they are, kind of higher, your higher mid-table Europa League places, than other ones like Martinho, like Neves, like Jimenez, like Rob Patricio could
But
fit
Traore
in.
in that or not?
I would put Traore in that. Um, I think that a good half of their team could play anywhere. I think even somebody
Volley.
like I think yeah, Willy Volley. I'm a fan of. Connor Cody. I'm a fan of. So yeah, I think they have got a great team, but in terms of the balance, I think the majority of those players do deserve, especially since they've been in the Premier League and shown what they can actually do. A lot of those players do deserve to be higher up, including I think Pedro Neto.
He's not done enough yet.
But every single time I've seen him, apart from uh, even against Man United, but Wolves were robbed that night anyway. Um, against Chelsea, fantastic. Against Southampton, fantastic. I didn't even know. I've sort of had some idea of all of the signings that Wolves have made, but I had absolutely no idea who Pedro Neto was, and he's actually been one of the ones I've been most impressed with. But as I said, I do quite like Fabio Silva.
Just to cut in there, I've got one thing to say to that, and I agree with all that you're saying, but I'll add to it.
If you're gonna say Cornetto again, I might punch you in the face.
No, I want to add to it. I want to add to
Go
it.
on.
So, Cornetta.
Oh, you fucking prick! Oh dear me.
But on a serious note, with Wolves, I think people forget, and we've had this discussion on this show, but I'll bring it up again. So, because as you know, I'm known as the stat man. So, Wolves started their 2019-20 season in July 2019 because they played in the Europa League qualifiers to finish seventh in the first season. They then finished their season in August 2020, 13 months later, after COVID and also the run that they've been on in the Europa League. They then restarted their season in September. They only had like 3 weeks off, and now they're playing a whole season. So in hang on. So in 3 years they would have had so little time off since they came back in since their beginning of their first season in the Premier League, and I just think that's catching up with them. We go on about we've said about whether Nuno was under pressure, and I take your points, and I said it was ridiculous. But you look at how much football those players have played because of the commitments, and you could say that other sides have had that, but Wolves not quite to the extent Wolves have in this country because they had the Europa League qualifiers and then had to break for the pandemic, and then they finished the season in August because they got to the Europa League quarter final, and then and had very little time to prepare, and
No,
then
I do agree.
they play again the next month with no pre-season, so that's 2 years on the bounce. 2 summers on the bounce, you could argue they've not had a pre-season because they've been straight into action.
No, exactly right.
And that's got it when you're a small squad like Wolves, that's got to have an effect. So I think, all this talk, well, Nuno's under pressure and I know they beat Southampton, but I just think it's ridiculous. I think people need to get real. I think Wolves do need to freshen up a bit, but I do think that you've got to take into account that the amount of football those footballers have played. You wonder now why. If you wonder now, I think why Jota got injured, and that's got to be partly because he's played so much football. It's the same for Jota, even though he's a Liverpool player.
And this, I just want to mention. I'll carry on that point because the first game actually on the Saturday was Liverpool and Leicester. I just wanted to because we were talking about Southampton. That's where I wanted to just jump in because why not? For Southampton, no, sorry. Let me finish my other point first. I wasn't saying the other week that I personally felt Nuno was under pressure. I think it would be like the notion of it is ridiculous. All I was saying is that in the modern football world, the way it is, I mean, look at Mourinho now. They're on about, where's it all gone wrong for Mourinho at Tottenham? They're still not that far off top 4.
Look at the players that he's got. Look at it's the style with Mourinho, George. You've got the likes of Bale, Ali. All right, he doesn't play Bale and Ali often. That's fine. But Kane, Son, Moura, Lamella,
I stand by what I said at the start of the season when Tottenham were doing so well, that Tottenham have a title-winning side. Yeah, maybe only like 13 or 14 players are that quality, but they do have it, and that's probably why there's.
But if you don't play the style,
Mourinho.
if you don't play the right style in today's game, then they're not playing the right kind of football. I agree with you on paper with Bale, Moura, Kane, Son, Ndombele, help me out, Regulon, players like that. Lloris, even though he's had a bit of a sticky time, but it's that is a title-winning team. Now, obviously, yes, granted injuries, but they should be challenging, but the style. You look at Tottenham, and they look shackled. Those players are shackled. You can't tell me that Bergwijn, who came as an attacking winger stroke, could play coming in off the wing striker, enjoys playing in that team where he doesn't get the ball off. Tottenham.
Yeah, and then let me tell you something about Steven Bergwijn. I was really excited about him coming to Tottenham. I've seen clips of him and bits of him at PSV. I really thought he was going to do well, but you're right. I don't think. I think it was probably a negative move for his career coming to Tottenham because I don't think he's going to get the kind of thing he needs at Tottenham. Let me just ask you
It's
another
not the
question
lack of
then, Sam.
it's not the lack of playing time. He's getting plenty of that. I just
No,
mean the
I think it's
system.
the system. No, exactly. That's what I meant. Let me ask you another question then. One of the shining lights for me in that Southampton team is Kyle Walker-Peters, the Southampton left back,
Love him,
right back. Sorry, the Southampton
love
right
him.
back. He was on loan to Southampton last season from Spurs. Do you think he would fit into Spurs' team better than Serge Aurier or Mac Doherty? Because personally, I do.
Yes, I think there's a lot of noise around always Serge Aurier, and he's improved immensely in his defending this season. But there's a lot of noise about whether he'll go or stay. So there's obviously something there. So I don't think he'll be there long term, Aurier, just because every summer it's like with Stephen and Zonzi when he was at Stoke. Will he go? Will he stay every summer? So Zaha, similar thing. So anyway, Aurier, and he's not like great defensively, is he? But
He really
yeah,
isn't, to be honest.
but he has improved. But yeah,
But
so
I do think he is like the quintessential example of a defender that attacks really well, but defensively is really poor.
Marcus Alonso. Anyway,
Yeah,
he's in that mold. Anyway, so in answer to your question, then I think that getting Doherty in was a really good thing. And okay, it's
I
not worked
agree.
out. It's not worked out for him. Sorry, I thought you were going to go on. That's
No,
fine.
I was just gonna say I agree.
So sorry for shouting at you. So I still think he'll be a good move because I think that form is temporary and class is permanent. He just needs a run of games, and all this talk. Well, he can only play in a back five is a bit ridiculous because he's a professional footballer. I'm sure he can play right back in a back four, no problem. But yeah, for me, I don't know if you knew, Joe, but when Kieran Trippier left at the start of the 1920 season
See,
at Tottenham, when he left Tottenham, Maurizio Pochettino started with Kyle Walker-Peters at right back because he didn't
no,
have
yeah,
any other
I did know
option.
that. Yeah,
And
he
I
didn't do
thought,
too bad, from what I remember.
I thought he was a bit shaky, to be fair. So when they loaned him, I wouldn't have loaned him at the time because they didn't have Doherty at the time. But when he was sold to Southampton, I thought, yeah, I can get that because he did look shaky at Tottenham. But then, like you say, in his loan spell and his time at Tottenham, he looks world beaten now.
Yeah, I was
Now
gonna say I thought he looked ace on loan at Southampton, and if there wasn't so many good right backs for England like Lamptey, Kyle Walker, Reece James, Aaron Wan-Bissaka,
Wan-Bissaka,
Trent, basically anybody,
Trippier.
Kieran Trippier. There's about 7 or 8 good right backs in front
Walker.
of 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 Walker Peters, and Walker Peters is a very good right back,
Yeah, I have
very
to
very
say,
good.
I always thought he had potential, but at Southampton on his loan spell, then I was like, yeah, if I was Tottenham, I'd get him back and he'd be my I know they brought Doherty in. So when they brought Doherty in, I could understand why Kyle Walker Peters left because he's at that stage of his career where he
Yeah.
needs to be playing football.
Well, I
However,
think it's also
however,
sorry.
having,
All I was
having,
gonna say is I
having,
do think it was quite harsh at the time
yeah,
for Wolves to
and
bring somebody like Doherty in.
having seen him at
Sorry,
Southampton,
Spurs.
having seen him at Southampton, now I'm like, he'd be first choice right back. So it was a mistake letting him go.
Yeah, but I know, knowing Jose Mourinho, somebody that has let world class players go without the hindsight of really giving them a chance.
Jose
I'm sure he
Mourinho
will.
Jose
Sure he
Mourinho
will.
didn't go off. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm sure he won't lose any sleep over it because he has made some quite high profile errors in terms of letting players go. Salah,
Yeah.
and not giving him a
De
chance.
Bruyne.
Salah, Lukaku, De Bruyne. So there's quite a
Even
few.
somebody like Bertrand Traore now looks
Yeah, but mind you,
different.
that wasn't really his call. It was Conte's call. But I
It
don't know. I
wasn't.
think that was a bad call as well because I actually was a major fan of Traore, and when he was playing under Goose Hiddink, I actually thought he had a real future on him, which he's showing at Villa. Just
I
one
do
final
think.
thought. Go on.
Sorry,
No, finish your point.
I was just gonna say. I don't probably a bit tongue in cheek, but you never know with Mourinho. But this season he came out and said this. Somebody said after Doherty was struggling and Aurier was, whether he was going or staying, and they said, "Well, why have you sold Kyle Walker-Peters? Because he's proven to be immense in the settled side that plays good football." And he said, "I've never liked him because his name's too."
There was something in. Did you see that bit in the Spurs documentary where he's explaining he's meeting the team, and he goes to Kyle Walker Peters and he goes, "Oh, I'll just call you Peters because there's two or something like that." He said something about his name, but
Yeah, well, he came out and said his name was too long. So.
well, I'll finish my point now. For Southampton, I think you could tell once they got that penalty decision against them, and
It
it was a
wasn't a
bit.
penalty.
It was soft. It was very soft. I
How
think.
do you mean to get his hand out? I'm sick of this conversation. Not this one, but I mean the handball rule. Because we seem
Uh,
to.
it was harsh though, but we have said that about the handball. Yeah, we're not saying it as much as we did at the start of the season. I always liked Ryan Bertrand as well. It's a shame that it happened to him. I think at the time, a couple of seasons ago, he could well have been considered England's first choice right back once Danny Rose, first choice left back once Danny Rose started to go off the boil. But
I agree. I agree, and I do think, unlike our right backs, that which is up for grabs and supposed because we know how good a right backs we've got. The left back position is really up for grabs.
Yeah,
You know.
I think that
Did you
you've
see
got.
Matt Target getting in?
Well, I don't know. I quite like Matt Target. I'm not gonna lie. I've always liked him since he was at Southampton. I could see him maybe doing it, but you never know. I think England have got two very solid choices at left back in Chilwell and Shaw, and then they've not got too much else behind that, which reminds me of England in the early 2010s before Luke Shaw came onto the scene, when it was like Ashley Cole and Leighton Baines at left back, and then not very much behind it.
Yeah, it's a shame because we're overloaded with right backs.
Yeah, but I think that's why somebody like Walker Peters would be a good choice because he can play left back.
Can Reece James play left back?
But then so can Reece James. You're right. So can Reece James and
Saka?
Saka. Saka can play anywhere.
Yeah.
He could probably do a job at centre back. But no. Just to finish my point, I think you could tell the confidence just completely went from Southampton. You're right. It was a half handball, but we've seen them given for even harsher than that. In fairness to the referees.
No, I thought it was a shocking decision. But
a lot of these VAR ones are. I was watching the game, the Southampton and Villa one, and it's the one where Danny Ings got called offside because his arms weren't by his side or something like that. He got called offside based on where the line of his shirt was or something like that. I don't know. It's a bit weird, but that's stupid. And we said months ago that we weren't going to spend too much time on refereeing decisions, and I'm glad that that's something we stuck by actually. So to move on to the actual first match of this match week, which was Liverpool versus Leicester or Leicester versus Liverpool. Sorry.
Leicester.
Now, obviously, we did talk about this a little bit on Monday, but literally all we did was mention the score. I was gobsmacked by this result.
Liverpool played well.
Yeah.
Liverpool played well for the first 68 minutes until Salah scored. They were on top and deserved the lead. And then I was listening to this on the radio. I didn't hear much of I didn't hear any of the first half, and I joined it when it was 0-0 in the second half. And just showing the highlights now. But
did you see Salah's goal?
Yes, amazing.
Yeah, it's just that assist in it. That bit of skill from Firmino. I could watch it all day. I really could. I really could watch it all day.
However, so great goal, and then they obviously Maddison gets brought down, and the ref gives a penalty. Then it's not a penalty. It was just outside the box, and from the free kick, Maddison hits it in. Whether it came off Maddison or Amate last, I don't know. There was a bit of discussion, but anyway, after they equalised, I went into our computer room to watch the end of it, because I thought, this is spiced up now. And a quick switch to telly on, and it's 3-1. Like,
yeah,
5 minutes later.
Like 3 goals in 9 minutes. He scored
7, wasn't it?
So that sounds about more right. Let me just get your opinion.
Will
the goal where it was a mix-up between Kabak and Alisson. Who do you think's at fault?
Well, this is interesting, because at first when I heard about it, they all said Alisson, and when I first saw it, I said Alisson, because he came rushing out and there's no need to. However, having watched it a couple of times, my dad actually said it was the new defender Clavans,
Kabak.
Kabak, that it was his fault. But actually, and I was like, no, what are you on about? But actually, having watched it, Alisson does come. Now, it all depends, and we won't know this unless we get audio mics on unless they tune the mics into what was said, but whether Alisson did shout. And if Alisson shouted for Kabak to get out of the way, then it's Kabak's fault because he got in front of him and should have listened to his keeper. However, if Allison didn't shout and Kabak didn't know he was coming, then it's Allison's fault for not taking command of the situation.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, if
It
he
depends who
shouted,
shouted. It depends
if
if he
he,
shouted.
I don't know, if he I was gonna say, oh yeah, but if he shouted, Kabak might not understand the language. But for me, in a game like that, if I hear my goalie shouting and I was centre half, he'd have
You
my
know what he
attention.
meant
Yeah,
if
he'd
you
have
were
my
listening.
attention enough to switch on and know what to do. So personally, I just think Allison hasn't shouted for it.
Or
That
if
being
it,
said,
well, it depends, doesn't it? Because if he did shout and Kabak didn't move, then it's Kabak's fault.
maybe because I think that it's more the modern way and it's a better way to defend. As a goalie, I would put a bit more trust in my defenders and to come sort of rushing out, because I
Yeah.
actually think a lot of the times, and we've seen it over the years, maybe not so much now, but how many times can a back pass sell a keeper short because the keeper's, asking for it?
What I would say is, I think we got to remember that it was goalie and defender's first game playing together.
No,
And
and that is a big
although
factor in it as well.
although it's no excuse, I'm sure they're still trying to understand each other. And for Kabak, it'll be very different to what he's played in the Liverpool way. So in his league, he probably goes and clears that because the keeper doesn't start as high. So he's probably like, yeah, I deal with this. But in the way Liverpool play, I think it's unfortunate because I think like I've just said, if they'd have worked, if they'd have played a few games together, that never would have happened. But that misunderstanding comes from one, communication, and if the communication was there between the two players, then it comes from not playing together and for very long, if at all. What I would say is I've played football. It's still there.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I've played football and with my teammates. For example, Liam, who was the lad I played with on the right side on the right wing. I was a left winger, and I knew where he was going to be on the pitch without having to look at him a lot of the time, and we interchanged a lot. Now our game was only four-a-side, so players had come drifting with the ball, and I knew that if he came drifting, how to get out of his way and go on the other wing to cover that side. Um, but that came from years and years of playing together, where you didn't even have to think about it. But if we had somebody new in the team, we very rarely did. But if we had somebody new, I remember we got a new goalie in Jake in our first game in the Premiership. He played and he was our new keeper, and we lost 7-0. Now Jake played quite well in that game, but we lost 7-0 because none of us played well, and we hadn't played with him before. So as much as we trained, we'd not had that much camaraderie to build a telepathic relationship with him. And that does have a fact, and that's what I'm saying about Allison and Clavan and
Yeah,
Clavan and Kabak. I don't know if
Quebec.
you agree. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, no, I do agree. Yeah, I think some good points for sure. Um,
What about you? Will?
right. Yeah, to be
Yeah.
fair, Will, you've
Oh
hardly,
yeah,
you've
yeah, yeah.
hardly.
I'm here. Yeah.
Are you letting us do it? Are you? Or because you've not, you don't think you've said anything. But then again, me and Sam have hardly taken a breath since we
Oh,
since we
sorry.
started.
Sorry, boys. Yeah.
What do you think about the Allison incident with the defender?
What do I think
Bet he's
of?
not seen it.
What do I think of what? Sorry.
The Allison incident with his new centre half, Clavat, where
It was obviously just miscommunication. I think, wasn't it?
did
That's
you
what
see
I
it?
thought.
Did you see the incident?
Yes, I did. Yeah. And poor Allison. I mean, his confidence is absolutely shattered. I mean, I think.
So, in your opinion, and there's no wrong or right answer, maybe you think it depends who shouted for the ball. Do you think whose fault do you think that goal was?
Well,
There's no wrong or right.
well, it's hard to say because if they were, it could be a communication problem. In which case,
Maybe.
you know, both of them are to blame. But well, yeah,
That's a good point.
it's a hard one. Yeah, it really is.
No, I agree with that. Well, that's what you mean. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, I mean, but yeah, I mean, you know, I've seen Allison, obviously the Liverpool v Leicester game, and which was the other one? Just trying to think.
Liverpool versus Man City.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, and
His distribution in that game, just to go off tangent a bit, his distribution in that game was disgusting.
he looked ill. I thought he looked just out of it. He did.
Probably sick with how bad of a game he was having.
Although Klopp,
and cold.
although I think he had a cold actually. Not long before,
then
I
he
think so.
Well, then they shouldn't have put him in the team.
Well, no, because you need your goalkeeper to be. If you're not 100%, and you know you're not.
So
He could have had.
blame
He
Klopp,
could have
then.
had Kelleher. He could have had Kelleher in goal. He's, you know, for somebody so young, I don't think he's that bad.
Yeah, he's not done too bad, has he at all?
Not
No,
seen
for
enough
sure.
of him. I've seen him, but
Just in
for
the
Leicester,
interest.
then,
Yeah,
go on.
I was just gonna say, just in the interest of moving everything on. I could probably guess what you were gonna say about Leicester, because I was actually gonna say something similar. I was gonna say, like, what a great result, but also I think, like, you know, everybody in England that's a football fan has a great relationship with Leicester. Some of us are more connected to it than others, such as myself.
And the way the club's run as well.
Yeah, and the way the club's run and the way they came
Absolutely.
together when the owner died, and there's just so many things that positive that you can say. However, for me, I've stopped seeing Leicester as like the oh yeah, what a great story, you know, they're doing so well because they've done that well, consistently under Brendan Rodgers. And for me, they are a team. They are a team that's very deserving of where they are. It's not like,
I agree.
oh wow,
They're
look
not
at
there
Leicester.
on merit. They're there because
No.
they deserve to be there.
No, yeah, I think definitely for me, it's not. Oh wow, look how well Leicester are doing. It's more, yeah, and I'm glad that they're doing as well as they should be doing. Because with the team that they've got, they should be doing that well.
And the manager
Just to
that they've got.
Just to pick up on what you said there, Joe, I was watching. I saw an interview after the game with James Maddison, Now, firstly, every time I hear James Madison speak, I think, what a nice guy he sounds.
Yeah,
He
I
sounds
really like him as well.
He's honest.
really level-headed, really nice fella. Um, we don't know him personally, admittedly, but from the outside, he looks as an outsider looking in. Every time I hear him speak, I enjoy listening to him. He's articulate. He's a nice guy, and he just refreshing is the way I'd call him. Even if he doesn't agree with something, he's just a generally nice fella. But one thing he said, yeah, shout out to you there, James. Please
Yeah,
subscribe.
matters.
Um, what I would say is, he said after the game, they said, the reporter said, something like, how well you doing this season, and you kicked on from last season. He said, yeah, we have kicked on from last season. We did crumble at the end, but we spent ages in the top four most of the season, and then he dropped off at the end last year, and we're up there again. He said, last year we finished in the top six. A couple of years ago, this side won the league. All right, you could say it was a bit of a fairy tale, which it was. But he said now, like you've just said, everybody still goes on about, the big six. And he said, yes, the big six are the big six in terms of club power, in terms of the finances, in terms of the facilities, in terms of the fan base, in terms of club size. The big six are the big six. They are the six biggest football clubs in England, which is true. But he said you don't win football matches by the size of the club, and he said I find it really disrespectful that when everybody's on about the big six, they just go on how big the club is. But yeah, in
Yeah, or
terms
how
of
successful they've been in the past.
yeah, and he said they're big six in power and in size, but he said on the football pitch, we've got to be one of the big six. Because look where Arsenal are, look where Chelsea have been, look where Liverpool have been. And he said, and yet we're up there and everybody's still surprised. And he said, everybody said to me, oh, are you going to move on in the summer and all this? And he's like, well, on current form, there's not many places I could go other than City and United, who were ahead of us, and at the time they were second in the league. So he said, so after that result, because United hadn't played, but he said, so you're not telling me that we are, everybody says, am I going to move on? But why, when I'm at a club that's progressive and I'm at a club that's challenging at the top of the league? And I thought, yeah, you're right.
Do you know what that tells you the difference between somebody who wants to go to a club with a big reputation and somebody who understands sort of on a deeper level, because I think that's true. I think if you look at it for Madison, where's he gonna go? For me, there are two teams, even all in all, better than Leicester in the league at the minute. Like, team-wise, Liverpool, form-wise, and team-wise, City. But, no disrespect to Madison, because I'd put him in ahead of some of City's midfield. But, you can't argue with the pedigree. You can't argue with the pedigree of City's midfield. Not just that, but you also can't really argue with the pedigree of Liverpool's either. So,
Well,
in which case,
big Leicester has become.
which case, he's better off staying where he is at Leicester, because I think he is the star man in that team now, which is weird to say because I actually don't think it's Jamie Vardy anymore. Yeah, he's still a world-class striker, but
But
I
we've
think
got other.
that
Well, you could
yeah,
have said Mahrez and Kante in that season.
yeah, but I'm not on about the season they won the league, but I actually think that Kante was the unsung hero of the title-winning year. Mahrez was the creator and Vardy was the finisher. So in some ways, it depends which way you look at it. Because some will say, "Oh yeah, Kante was the best player because of the
Actually, I
ground
think,
he covered."
yeah, I agree. Although Kante did get a lot of accolades that season.
But I
And
actually think the
plaudits.
best player in that team was Mahrez.
Yeah, and you could argue the unsung heroes were the back four and Schmeichel. Because
Yeah,
as good as they were ahead of him, the amount of clean sheets they kept at the end of the season was amazing. They went on a run of like
he's
8.
somebody. He's somebody that I am quite. Sometimes, well, in the past, I've been quite critical of him.
Who's Schmeichel?
Mainly just because don't know whether you've ever seen Leicester when they have a corner. When they have a corner, Kasper Schmeichel stands behind the goal line, which I always think puts the goalie at a disadvantage. Because let's say if it's whipped in at pace
When they
and
have
you
a
see it,
corner
yeah,
against.
when they have a corner against him, if it's whipped in at pace and he struggles to see it or he sees it late, 7 or 8 times out of 10, that's a chance for a goal. So I don't know. That's the only thing about him I don't like.
He is a
That being
quality
said,
keeper.
I think as Leicester's position in the league has improved, or as he has improved, so has Leicester's position in the league, or vice versa, however you want to see it.
I agree. I agree. But I just thought I'd bring that point up about Madison because he said I might have seen a team that's the top 2 or 3 teams in the country, and he said to him, "For me, money isn't important." Yeah, he said, "Yeah, there are bigger clubs than Leicester City, but I tell you what, there aren't many better teams than Leicester City at the minute." And I thought
And I
that
agree.
was a
I
really
think
good point.
if you go through that, if you go through that team, Schmeichel, they've got Ricardo back now, which is a great thing
Love
for
it.
them. I like him as well. They've got Ricardo back, Fafana and Johnny Evans, James Justin
It's been a
uh,
revelation for Farner, hasn't he?
yeah, he's brilliant.
Gutting for James
And I
Justin
knew
that he's injured for the rest of the
because
And
season.
say,
because I when they signed him, it was when I was watching a lot of the French league, and we were taking the piss out of the French league. But one thing I said to you was, watching those highlights, what I saw of Fafana, I thought he had a really good future in the game, and he's proved that because he's phenomenal.
but it's how quick, because there's no doubt that he would have got game time, but there's no doubt if Saintu hadn't been injured, him and Evans would have been the first choice centre halves at the start of the season. But Fafana was drafted in because Saintu was injured, and he did incredible. And we're talking about a man in Saintu who did incredible last season when
Yeah,
Maguire left. So they
fantastic.
do
So
unearth,
I'm not being funny,
these
but like
gems.
Soyuncu and Fafana, in my eyes, have had better seasons than Maguire.
Yeah, you could
Because
say that. But
Maguire, either with individual mistakes, because I don't understand why everybody goes on about how good he is. I really, really don't. Don't know whether it's because I look at, with the way I like to watch football. For me, yeah, attacking play is great, but I'm always looking, where's your defender? What are they saying to each other?
I look at
Uh,
football from a defensive point of view
and
first, because
I
I'm
just don't.
defensive minded.
Yeah, I do. I do think that he is one of the best headers of the ball in the league. But I think if you're looking at it like that, oh yeah, I mean, he makes these headed clearances, blah blah blah. There's so much more to defending than that, and I just don't
I think,
understand it. And I quite like Lindelof. Sorry, I'll just finish my point. I quite like Lindelof, but I don't think that Maguire and Lindelof work at all. That being said, I don't think Maguire and Bailly work that well at all either. Or Maguire and Twanzebe against Everton. So, there's one common denominator there. And I'm not saying I don't think that Maguire is a good defender.
He needs the right partner.
I thought when he left United, when he left Leicester, he was the best defender England had. That being said, in a team like Leicester that are just as good all around the pitch, he should not have left, in my eyes. But who's going to turn down £80 million?
Exactly. But one thing I would say, George, sorry. One thing I would say is that nobody, even when Maguire left Leicester, and as good or not as good as you thought he was, or overrated or underrated, you must have thought when he left Leicester, Leicester are going to struggle to replace him because he was so influential.
I did actually, yeah. I did.
And then
I thought the same when he left Hull.
And then we didn't, but we didn't. We all said, Leicester need to go out and buy another centre half, and then this fella called Taglier, I can't say his first name.
Kaglar
Sayintu comes in, and he'd been in the reserves the year before, but we're like, wow, this guy's amazing. He's a ready-made replacement. And then at the start of this season, or the end of last season, Sayintu comes in, gets injured, and we're like, yeah, okay, they brought Fofana in, but they brought him in for the future, no doubt, with a couple of games in mind for him. And then we're like, wow. So we're like, Leicester probably need another defender because now Sayintu's injured. And then we're like, wow, this Fofana's amazing. And then Sayintu's fit, and we're like, bloody hell, who do you fit? Who do you pick? I don't know.
I'm not being funny as well. I'm just going to throw it out there. I actually think Leicester are closer to winning another title than United are.
Who would your first choice centre-half pairing be there when they're all fit?
At Leicester?
Yeah. Because you've got Evans.
I don't know, I'm thinking... I would say, based purely on quality alone, Soyuncu and Fofana, but with Soyuncu being injured, you'd probably, for the sake of Fofana, probably play Evans instead.
And Evans brings his experience as well, whether Fofana's quite young.
What I would say is a good point now. Well, what I would say is football's all about partnerships as well.
Or you could play back three, Fofana, Evans, and Soyuncu.
No, don't get what's wrong with you in back threes. You're always on about playing in back three. Don't work for every team.
I did think that, but I have to say, it's a nice headache to have, and I have to say, it's all about partnerships. It's not necessarily about who your best defenders are and putting them together. It's about who. Centre-half pairing is about who works best together. So Johnny Evans, just picking a name out of the sky because he's been a great player, but Johnny Evans might be the worst defender out of those three, right?
I'd say that. But to say that is not to disrespect Johnny Evans. It's more.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying it for saying sake. So say Johnny Evans is the worst defender out of the three, which I'm not saying, I just picked a name out of the sky, but he plays best with Fofana, say, then no matter that if Soyuncu's a better defender than Fofana, if your best partnership is Evans and Fofana, you'd play Evans and Fofana because centre half pairing is not necessarily who are the best individually. It's about the best partnership.
Yeah. With that, just because I've literally didn't realise that time's getting away from us. I think it might be best to move on to the next game, which
Yeah.
was Burnley won 3-0 against Crystal Palace. Goals from Goodmanson, Jay Rodriguez, and Matt Loughton. Firstly, yeah, that was what I was gonna say. Matt Loughton only scores screamers.
He did for Villa, didn't he?
Yeah, I was testing you then. I was gonna test whether you knew what I was on about it when I said that. Because he literally scored two almost identical goals, one against Stoke and one against Swansea. And they were both absolute beauties.
They
Absolute.
were for Villa, weren't they?
Yeah, they were for Villa, but they were against Stoke and against Swansea. Yeah, no, they were beautiful goals, and it was great. It was good to see him on the score sheet, and because I don't know about you, but I quite like Burnley. One of the reasons I do is because a lot of them are players that I've had careers in the Premier League for a long time, but wouldn't really get on the team sheet of the teams they came from anymore. Like for example, Rodriguez at Southampton probably wouldn't get in that team over Adams and Ings.
He
Westwood,
might have done at the time. But
yeah, Ashley Westwood, as much as I love him for obvious reasons, probably wouldn't get in at Villa. In fact, I don't know. He actually probably would get in because of all the people I hear good things about in the Burnley team. One of the names that comes up the most is Ashley Westwood, which as a Crew
about
fan,
what?
and he just about how good he is, and like he's a good captain, and so like for me, like as a Crew fan, knowing where he came through and stuff, it feels like a personal compliment. So I love it. But then you've got the likes of Jack Cork, that definitely wouldn't get in the Chelsea team. Probably could still get in the Southampton team. Yes, there's quite a few like that in that team. And I also, yeah, absolutely. I just think that Burnley are the team that always survives, but they are one of the ones that, for a lower mid-table team, do play some good stuff. And it was funny because even when they were doing so poorly at the start of the season, we said it, everybody said it. There was no doubts about Burnley staying up, and as we've said a couple of times, and I do think that all of the bottom three are gone for. Maybe not Fulham, but West
Hang on,
Brom.
sorry guys. I'll be back in a sec. 1 minute.
Okay. I do think that all the bottom three are gone for. Maybe not Fulham, but definitely West Brom and definitely Sheffield United. That being said, yeah, great to see, but I don't know. I do worry about Palace a little bit, just because they either play really well or really terribly.
Yeah.
They're like Leeds. They're like Leeds, but they don't have as many goals in them as Leeds do.
No.
Which is is weird. I think again, which has been a theme of this sort of roundup. They've got players that mean they probably should be higher up than they are, and they're not.
No wonder Zaha wants to leave a bit.
Yeah, but Zaha wants to leave, but he didn't go. This is what I find weird about that situation. How is Wilfried Zaha, like, he could probably play in any team currently in the Premier League, with the exception of, I don't know, maybe City and Liverpool, because, you're not going to displace Mane or Salah, are you?
No.
And you
Mind
can't,
you, I think
you know,
Jota could when he gets back from injury, possibly.
I think Firmino, if Firmino doesn't score more, I think Firmino's in trouble when Jota comes back.
No, because I think his overall work, it's not just his goals. I
No,
think,
I agree, but at the end of the day, strikers score goals, don't they?
yes, but out of the three of them, I think Mane has actually been the best one
Yeah,
for
no,
me this season.
I agree. Although I've said that all the way through, I actually there's so many people talk about how good Salah is, but actually, I think Salah, out of the three, Salah brings the least to the team. Like, you've got Mane, who's just, I think, should be considered one of the best players in the Premier League, if not the world. Firmino, who can assist, can score. Well, he can assist, but he can't score. He's skillful. He's just fantastic. And then Salah is the one that scores the chances and does what he does best.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, it's an interesting one with Salah and not Salah, Zaha. All the attacking quality that Crystal Palace have to be where they are, with a decent back line as well of like Gary Cahill and
who's very experienced.
yeah, they have to play Czech Kuyate at centre half because they've got injury problems. But what can you do? Like I've always been a fan of Scott Dan, who's there as well. But like you said,
Yeah.
injury problems, COVID, what have you. Yeah, I don't know. I think obviously Palace will be okay, but
Oh, yeah, I think they will be okay. But if
it doesn't
so,
look good for Hodgson. I think because they are they're inconsistent, but they're like extremely inconsistent.
yes, if Zaha, if this is a hypothetical situation, but if let's say Zaha was out for the rest of the season, I think Palace would be screwed. They would.
I think they'd be in trouble. I think whenever he has a bad game, so do they.
Yeah, and I
And
mean, Eze to me looks like he's going to be a good player, but still needs to develop. Benteke, he's
Benteke shot himself in the foot because he started to find confidence and then got sent off,
yes,
which derails anybody,
yes,
especially somebody that is, when he is on form and firing, he could be one of the sort of the hidden gems of the season. But sometimes as a player, things just don't go your way, and
no,
that's
no.
that.
I remember. Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
I remember seeing Roy Hodgson, and he was clearly not impressed with that. Yeah, when Benteke was sent off, has he got his place in the team back? Has he started for Palace? I can't remember.
I'm sure they were playing not Benteke, Batshuayi the last time.
Oh yeah, mind you,
Uh,
I have to admit when they bought Batshuayi back, sorry, and then we'll move on. I thought he would, because he did well in his first spell at Palace, but he's not shown anything.
yeah, I agree. quite interesting actually because the next game was Man City versus Tottenham. We've done a lot of talk about Tottenham and
I
Man City
watched.
already.
I watched the game. I did.
We've done a lot of talk about Tottenham and Man City already,
Yes.
and they played on Wednesday. So I think, just for the sake of speeding the situation up, we'll move on to the final game of the Saturday,
Yeah, that's
which
fine.
was
Mate.
Brighton versus Villa. I saw the highlights of this not too long ago,
I saw it on Match of the
uh,
Day. I think. Yeah.
and all I can say is I think Emi Martinez has to be up
Fantastic
there
keeper.
as one of the signings of the season.
Yeah.
Like, he had such a good game. He was saving everything, and I think yeah, we're, as a team in the position where Villa are, chasing Europe, you're not quite one of those teams that you're a team that sometimes, although you win quite a few, you do need to grind out results. And
Yeah.
like that, it was grinding out results because we've seen from Brighton that they are a little bit, more rejuvenated recently, and it's always going to be a tough ask. But Martinez was fantastic, and
Yeah.
Sanchez, his opposite number, Sanchez also made some good saves as well.
Yeah.
Who we talked about last week, I think.
Yes. Talking of Martinez, actually, he could potentially, be called up to England because although he was born, I know he's from Argentina from birth, but he spent a lot of time in England.
I saw that. I saw that last. Was it? I think it was last week. I saw that actually because he hasn't been capped in a tournament game for
Yeah,
Italy yet, like an official game. He could still play for England.
I would love that, please, because I think he, you know, I think I trust him more than. Well,
Now that'd be a decent number one.
oh yeah. He's proved
I don't
himself,
think
hasn't he?
I don't think I've seen him make a mistake this season.
No. For me, he's been, and I watched him and I thought, Arsenal, why did you sell him?
Yeah, because when they haven't got Bernd Leno, Arsenal are quite in trouble, I think.
Although Matt Ryan, I think, played tonight. I think, and I think I think he'll do okay for them.
Yeah, the Europa League's a different situation, isn't it?
Oh yes.
Europa League, they're basically like cup games. Well, the first couple are like cup games, aren't they?
Yes.
And then it gets to sort of the big boy stages where you're playing against some real
Benfica are not a
teams.
small team though.
No, don't get me wrong. No disrespect to Benfica. Again, Portuguese teams do have great academies, and
Ruben Diaz
Benfica have got
Lindelof.
yeah, no, exactly.
João
Benfica
Felix,
have got
who's playing
João
for Atletico
Felix,
Madrid
yeah.
now.
Renato Sanchez,
Yep.
Gedson Fernandez, Jimenez was there.
So yeah, some good players to play for Benfica.
Should have had obviously they've got Vertonghen playing for them at the back.
They
Should have
have,
had
yeah.
Cavani really, but Cavani turned Benfica down twice because they couldn't agree on the deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, I just think Martinez is brilliant, and what a great piece of business.
Oh, absolutely.
Which probably at the time wasn't seen by was seen by everybody as good business, but I don't think anybody, not even Burnley or not Burnley, Villa or Dean Smith himself could have thought how influential he's been, because he's been fantastic.
He has. Tom Heaton's going to have a real job to get back in that team.
I just think because nobody, I've not seen Tom Heaton play in years because he's been injured. So I think he's got no hope of displacing Martinez.
Well, yeah, plus Martinez is he's 28, so okay, not young, but obviously younger than Heaton.
Younger than Heaton by about 6 or 7 years, isn't he?
Oh,
Man, I think Heaton's about 32, 33 maybe.
yeah. Maybe a move to the MLS maybe might be good for Heaton, I reckon. Actually, I could see that.
I think he could. He could probably still do it in the Premier League. I think.
Yeah.
If he kind of, if he found the right team.
Good keeper for Burnley, and Nick Pope, his replacement as another fantastic keeper. I like him a lot, Pope.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's not that much else you can really say about a 0-0 draw, I don't think.
No. It was hard for me because obviously I like Brighton and I like Villa. So I really didn't want, Brighton to lose. But I didn't want Villa to lose either. So a draw, yeah, I was I was happy because they're both teams that I like very well.
Yeah. Now, we're in a bit of a weird position here because apart from one other game, which we're going to talk about after this, we've sort of covered everything else for this week, and we covered it on Monday.
Yeah. Well, we could go through the Champions League results basically.
I don't know about you, but because basically we're about half an hour away from 12 o'clock. Maybe we just cover the Arsenal and Leeds game, and then the Chelsea Newcastle's one as well, because we sort of covered it, but.
Oh, right, okay.
And then it's up to you.
Then briefly talk about the Champions League, because, some interesting results, in the Champions League.
Yeah. To go on to Arsenal versus Leeds, for me, I was very happy because I really like Aubameyang, and I'm glad that he came back in such a big fashion, really.
Oh, absolutely. It was really good for him, because he's had a rough time recently. So.
Yeah, it has been difficult for him, hasn't it? Which is odd because a player of his quality, I would say he's like in the top bracket of strikers in the world.
Well, no, I meant him personally.
Yeah, but obviously it all translates, doesn't it, onto the pitch?
Yes, yeah. Sorry, I meant his mother being ill. Sorry.
Oh, what? Aubameyang's mum's ill? Didn't know that.
Because that's why he missed a couple of matches. Well, he's back now, but.
You learn something every day.
Did you? Maybe you forgot.
No, I didn't know that. Well, I hope Aubameyang's mum's all right, because. In COVID times, it's never good when somebody's ill, especially not somebody that's probably quite old, like his mum will be in his 60s or 70s maybe. But no, yeah, great for Arsenal. Good result. Leeds gave Arsenal a little bit of a scare. Good to see a goal from Hector Bellerin as well. I always like that. Somebody that's been around a long time like him. And it has been at such a high level consistently as him as well. So It's good to see. And again, it's one of them where I don't know. I always find it once you've sort of said specific things on this show, I do find it quite hard to know what else to say. But I don't know. I think once I'll tell you what. I'll get your opinion on something. We're at the point in the season where we are now.
Yeah.
So given where Arsenal were, would you say if they finish in the position they are now, is it a successful season for them?
I don't
Which
know
is an
really.
incredibly difficult question, and I'll put you on the spot a little bit there.
Oh gosh, yeah. It is a difficult question. Oh, blimey. I think if they, they finish where they are now, that there's a lot of positives to take from Arsenal. Martin Odegaard is already seemed to be having an impact. Obviously, people like Thomas Partey, Emil Smith Rowe, Saka, again tonight. His 10th goal of the season, I think, and what a player he is for Arsenal. And so I think there's lots of positives, even if they do finish. But I think Arsenal are my favourites to win the Europa League, I think.
You reckon? That's interesting.
Yeah, I just... Well, yeah, Arsenal or Tottenham, I reckon, yeah.
Right. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I would say that considering where they were, I don't know, because of the quality they've got, I probably would be high. I don't know. It's a tricky question, actually, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I would be.
Oh,
I think
me.
I'd be unhappy because they got into that position in the first place, but happy with the character that they showed in the second half of the season
Oh,
to
absolutely.
sort of
They've shown
turn it
real
around a
character.
bit.
And it's all down to Arteta. I think he is doing a fantastic job. And the board has shown they've trusted him, by showing, the likes of Ozil, Mustafi, Kolasinac, all out the door. And that's good to see that they're trusting him, and it's paying off, I think.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
For me,
He's turned it around.
oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying he's definitely turned it around, and I'm glad he has as well, because
Oh, absolutely. I like Arteta a lot. I do. I've a lot of respect for him.
yeah, absolutely. Former players and stuff, former Arsenal captain.
Yep, and
I
he's,
just
he's
wish
learned from the best in Pep Guardiola and Arsene Wenger.
I just wish that that Frank would have been able to have turned it around like he has, but in a
Well,
way, you could say, has he turned it round or hasn't he? Because, yeah, they're doing better than they were. They're still like 11th or 12th or whatever.
Arsenal, sorry, we talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, from a Chelsea perspective, it has come together a little bit under Tuchel now.
Yeah. But how long will it last before he's out the door?
Yeah.
Can't
help but worry about
that. Actually, although I kind of hope, I know this is negative, but I kind of hope it doesn't really work, because Abramovich could learn that changing managers is not always the answer.
Yeah, but you would think after like Ranieri and Mourinho and Avram Grant and Scolari and Ancelotti and Villas-Boas and Di Matteo and Benitez and Mourinho again and Conte and Hiddink and Frank.
Jesus, you've named all the managers.
That's every single one. That's every single one. In order as well, I think.
Yeah, you have. You missed Gus Hiddink twice again, although I suppose he doesn't really count.
No, they all count.
Do you know what?
Um,
I think Hiddink could be a good shout, you know, to come to Chelsea permanently, I think, in the future.
no, I don't think you do it.
You don't
I
think
think
so?
when he came the first time, I got the impression that all he wanted to do was do the job, and that was it. That he was asked to do, and that was it. And then I got the same impression when he come back.
Right. Okay, well, fair enough.
Um, but he is a good manager, I think.
Yeah.
Hello, mate.
Oh, is Sam back?
Samuel.
Hey, Sam's back.
Oh, hello, sorry lads, I had to go out of the room I was in because my mum was trying to get some sleep, and then I had to go to the gentleman's room.
Are you being too noisy? You naughty boy.
Well, I was in the room right by the stairs, but I'm on my bed now.
Okay.
Oh, send me some pictures, baby.
We're on a live stream.
No, I don't care.
That's like, right, anyway.
You say that like I'm bothered. It's not like anybody watches these anyway, is it?
Where are we up to?
So we were looking at the fixtures that we hadn't covered. We talked about Brighton and Villa, and then we basically said on Monday we talked about Fulham and Everton, and we talked about Wolves and Southampton, and we thought, yeah, we did, because I said about like what a good signing Josh Madger was, and we talked about what a good signing Josh Madger was and all that. So, I basically said to Will that the only one we didn't touch on at all on Monday was Arsenal and Leeds. So we were talking about.
Sorry, have you talked about City's game at the weekend?
Yes, but what I said was we've already talked about City and we've already talked about Tottenham, and
Who did
because they
City play at the weekend?
they played Tottenham, but obviously they played yesterday, didn't they? So I was gonna focus more on yesterday's game instead of Saturday's one. Was it Tuesday? I don't even know. Days are melting into one.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, what I was saying to Will was obviously, you know, happy for Aubameyang and wanting to do well and stuff. Then I asked him a pretty tricky question. I said, if you were an Arsenal fan or you were the Arsenal board and you finished where Arsenal are now, considering where they were, are you happy or not happy?
As an Arsenal fan,
As an Arsenal fan, as Arsenal staff, as the Arsenal board.
well, you've got to be unhappy. We're talking about one of the biggest teams in England. You know, they should have never have been in this situation in the first place. Wherever they finish now, it will have been a very disappointing season. Whether they finish 11th, 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, minimum for Arsenal is top 4. For Arsenal, expect to be challenging for the league. So very disappointing from the club's point of view, fans' point of view, players' point of view, Kitman's point of view.
You're gonna go for everybody who works at the club.
No, I completely agree.
The cake seller's point of view.
Oh, blimey.
The man in the burger van.
It is,
But
you know, if you connected with that club and whatever.
Barbara the kit cleaning lady.
Yeah, Arsenal should have not been in this
Grunosaurus.
position. Now, having been in the position they are, they have improved. They have improved. But we're talking about What are Arsenal in now? 9?
I don't know, but I still thought they were in like 10th or 11th. I'll have a look. Arsenal are in
But
10th,
wherever
yeah.
they are, what are they in?
10th.
They're bang mid-table there. So if Arsenal finish 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th even, 5th even.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Not that they would finish, they will finish 6th or 5th, but I'm telling you, under a normal season, if Arsenal finish anywhere outside the top 4 is satisfactory. Anything outside of that isn't. Winning a league is what Arsenal will want to do, but being where they are, it's a disaster of the season. However,
Yeah.
I think they've done the right thing to keep Arteta in and give him time.
And for the record, for anybody watching, this is why we have Sam on the show. Because Sam agrees with everything I say, and Will doesn't really. Because Will said Will said, Will initially said he'd be happy, but then I said, well, I basically sort of said something along the lines of what you just said, and then he said, oh, I don't know, it's a tricky one.
The thing is, Will, all right, fair enough, Will. Why would you be happy with the season?
Because there are still positives for Arsenal. You've been, so you were quite negative there, son.
I don't know. I completely agreed. I thought it was
okay. So, but why will it? So, in your eyes, will it have been a successful season?
Well, it will depend where they finish up.
No, hang on. If they were to finish where they are now, would it have been a successful season?
No.
Right.
Hang on, that's not what you said about 10 minutes ago.
Well,
there are some positives. I get that, Will. The emergence of Saka, Smith Rowe, homegrown talent, Martinelli. But the negatives for the football club way outweigh the positives for the season. Long term, those slight positives now might become big positives. But for the season as a whole, the negatives, the loss of money with COVID as well, but the loss of money for not finishing in the Europa League or the Champions League, let's say they don't get there, the loss of money on shirt sales, ticket sales, all that stuff well outweighs the fact that Smith Rowe, Saka and Martinelli, three bright young sparks. Long term, in 2 or 3 seasons, you might look back at that and go, wow, yeah, that was a big moment. But in the context of the season, it doesn't change the fact that Arsenal shouldn't have been there with the squad they've got. What do you reckon, George?
Completely agree. Sorry, I was eating cheesecake. No, I completely agree.
Hey, you finally got his cheesecake.
I think that there are positives. The younger players are coming to their own, and things like that. Partey seems like a great deal. They've kept hold of Arteta, which I'm a massive fan of, but purely based on the fact that Arsenal Football Club, one of the absolute giants, the only one of two teams to ever in the history of English football go unbeaten, are going to finish 10th is absolutely disgraceful. Preston, I think it was Preston with Sir Tom Finney.
Oh, right, in the old First Division.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I just think, well, there you go. You learn something new every day. So I just think that even on the basis of that, I would probably. It'd be interesting if Arteta keeps his job. I think he should.
No, he
But
will. He will.
yeah,
The fact that they've, sorry to interrupt, but the fact that they've got rid of Ozil for him, and they've put Maitland Niles out on loan. They've
They're going in the right direction.
they put Joe Willock out on loan. They wouldn't have given him the power to do all those decisions if he didn't if he didn't if they didn't think he was going to stay that long, because with Ozil probably would have signed a new deal at Arsenal if it had been playing, and the board, because Mesut Ozil was one of their biggest assets as a player, attracting new fans. Mesut Ozil plays for Arsenal, let's go and support them. But the board have turned around and gone, okay, Mikan, if you're not going to offer him a new contract, and we're not going to, and he is not going to be part of your plans, then we'll let him go now. They wouldn't have done that, the club, if they didn't believe in Arteta. They would have gone, well, we'll offer him a new deal, and he'll be staying, and you better start playing him. And they didn't do that. They trusted Arteta's judgment. It shows that they still have a lot of faith in him. Don't you agree?
yeah, I agree. I do agree. Yeah.
Because losing Ozil in the situation they were in, when people were saying they cried out for creativity before Smith Rowe came on the scene, was seen as a crazy idea, and people were calling out for him to play even though he doesn't run back a lot because of his creativity. But Arteta's made his choice, and the board have stuck by him, and it would have been very easy for it's all very well and said and good if Arsenal was second, third in the league, and Arteta had made that decision.
Even now to think that like Arsenal got rid of Mesut Ozil is kind of a.
But they're not.
Yeah.
They're not there in the league, and yet they've still trusted Arteta with that decision.
Yeah,
which I believe was his decision. To do that with Mesut Ozil, to freeze him out. I don't think that was a board decision. I think that was an Ozil. It was an Arteta decision. And that shows great faith by the board.
I don't think that anybody is going to want to, any board members are going to want to go to, you Mesut Ozil and go, oh yeah, let's get rid of him. Because anybody with half a brain knows how good he is.
And what an asset he is.
Yeah, because he's phenomenal.
People in.
Who are you on about now, boys?
Ozil, sorry.
He should have gone years ago from Arsenal, I think.
Okay, well. The thing is, I don't disagree, but I think that you base it on things that aren't just about his footballing ability.
He was good with Sanchez, but no, he was there too long.
What are you saying, Sam?
I've said all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I agree. Right.
It's good that they got him out the door.
I agree and disagree.
While we're on about players, Will, your favourite player scored tonight.
A collector's item you can remember the day when Gareth Bale scored again.
So that's two players who you've written off who
Oh,
have
don't
had
just
good
blame it
games
off one game.
recently.
He's
Jesse
got a long way
Lingard
to go
and
yet.
Gareth Bale.
We'll see. He's
What's
gonna
next?
find.
Victor Lindelof scoring a hat trick for United at the weekend.
No, he didn't.
No, I
Oh,
said
God.
that's what'll be next.
That would be ridiculous.
Well, stranger things have happened.
That is true.
On the interest of speeding up because it is getting seriously late, and I've got to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I think the best thing to do is just blast through
Champions
the
League
final
results.
game. No, I wouldn't even do that. I just think let's do predictions.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
The
No,
only
I think
thing
we
that I
should
do.
say the Everton Man City score.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, yeah. I was gonna say we'll just blast through the rest of the games. The only one, we obviously we are providing updates for Chelsea versus Newcastle, but it did in the end finish 2-0. All I want to say is so pleased for Timo Werner to get that out of the way. Needed it, I think,
We'll see if he
majorly.
can build on that.
Like when Diego Forlan scored for United.
Yeah, actually, what a great! I do kind of love Forlan. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's brilliant.
No, but he was. But,
Yeah, but for
but
United,
for
he was
United,
shit.
The
but
fall, the
when he was at
fall,
United,
man.
when he was at United, he really struggled for goals.
Yeah, and then he scored those two against was it Liverpool, and then he just
And that's when
yeah.
it's on Diego Wall.
Did you like that, boys? The fall, man.
To be honest, I don't think we were listening.
Okay, at least you're honest.
So yeah, the only other results there are to tell you are Burnley and Fulham. I saw the highlights for this one. Ola Einer's chested flick was cancelled out 2 minutes later by Ashley Barnes. And Everton beat Man City. No, Man City beat Everton away from home with goals from Phil Foden, Riyad Mahrez, and Bernardo Silva. I don't know if you saw Mahrez' goal, but what a strike.
I did, unfortunately.
And Richarlison scored the Everton goal.
Which, I don't know if you saw the Richarlison goal, but it was funny. Luca Dean's shot, it hit the post, bounced off Calvert-Lewin's knee, and into the off Richarlison's knee and went in.
It was a weird one that I couldn't actually tell until I saw the replay that it did come off Richarlison. I thought it went straight in from Denier's ball. Oh, God. There are so many games on from here to Monday. Oh, Jesus. Wow, there's a game from Friday to Tuesday.
Okay.
Right. Well, let's try and get through these nice and quick.
Yep.
Wolves versus Leeds tomorrow, 8 o'clock.
Are we writing our predictions down or not?
I'll listen back to this.
2-2.
We're gonna go 2-2. Sam, you first. Well, you again.
I don't know. I'm gonna think about it, so I'll let you go first.
I feel the same as you. I don't really know. I'm sort of thinking the same as Will, that it's probably going to end in a draw. I'm going to go for 1-1. Yeah, I'm going to go 1-1.
And I'm going to go for 1-1 too.
Okay. Saturday, 12:30, Southampton, Chelsea. I'm going to say Southampton are really low on confidence at the moment, and with Timo Werner back in the form, whether it's assists or goals, probably Chelsea are going to win. I'm going to say a 2-1 win to Chelsea.
Well,
2-0 Chelsea.
Sammy?
Southampton 1, Chelsea 3.
Very good, okay. Burnley versus West Brom at 3 o'clock. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Burnley win.
1-0 Burnley.
Sorry. What was that, Will?
1-0
It's a
Burnley.
1-0 Burnley.
West Brom 0, Burnley 0.
Alright, Mike West. Probably the biggest game of the weekend, or one of the biggest games of the weekend, Liverpool versus Everton. I'm gonna go Everton 3, Liverpool 1.
Liverpool 3-1.
Very well.
He said Liverpool 3-1.
Everton, sorry, Liverpool 4, Everton 1.
What? That's the okay. Alright, okay. Now this game actually might be the biggest game of the weekend, I think. Fulham versus Sheffield United, which is a massive game.
I love my Sheffield United, and if they're going to stay up, that have any glimmer of hope, they're going to have to win this game. So I'm going to say Fulham 0, Sheffield United 2.
I think if Sheffield United lose this,
They're down.
them and West Brom are down definitively, and that's
I
it.
agree.
That being said, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Fulham win.
I'm going to go the same, 2-1 Fulham.
Okay. On Sunday, first game, 12 o'clock, West Ham versus Tottenham.
Whoa, London derby.
I will let you guys go first.
2-1 Tottenham.
Sorry.
2-1 Tottenham, you're saying? I think 2-1 the other way. I think 2-1 West Ham.
I'm going to go Tottenham Hotspur 1, West Ham 2.
Good boy.
And I did think that before you said it, by the way.
Well, you should follow my advice anyway. It's another derby at 2:05 for Aston Villa versus Leicester. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
I'm going to go because Leicester have played in Europe and Villa have had a rest. I think that might just tip the balance Villa's way. I'm with the amount of games being played recently in
Excuse me.
So I'm going to go Leicester 1, Aston Villa 3.
Yeah. Arsenal versus Man City at half four. What?
2-2.
What? Did you not make a prediction?
Yes.
God's sake, you scared the shit out of me. I thought you were being killed this morning. Right. 4:30, Arsenal versus Man City. What are we saying for Arsenal versus Man? You're saying 3-1 to Arsenal.
I am.
Is that because you don't like Man City?
Exactly.
Well, that's not very good punditry, is it?
3-1
I don't want
City.
them to get away and win the league again. So 3-1 Arsenal.
What was your prediction? Sorry, Will?
3-1 City.
I'm going to say 2-0 City.
Yeah.
And at 7 o'clock, Man United versus Newcastle. I'm going to take a leaf out of Sam's. I'm going to take a leaf out of Sam's book and say 1-0 Newcastle.
Uh,
3-0 United.
2-0 United.
Okay, good for me. Good for me. On Monday, Brighton versus Palace. I'm gonna say.
Oh, that's a hatred. They
Oh,
don't
the
like each other.
A23 derby, innit?
Yeah, but they don't
I'm
like
gonna
each other
say.
because of long game. Because it's not really a derby, that you know that, don't you?
Yeah,
Logistically,
no, I do know. I'm gonna say 1-0 to Palace.
2-1 Brighton.
2-1 Brighton.
And then finally, Leeds versus Southampton on the Tuesday.
Ooh.
Wait, that's going into the next round of fixtures.
No, it's a midweek one.
Yeah, but no, you've gone into the because Leeds and Southampton are playing at the weekend.
No, you're playing on Tuesday.
No, they're both playing at the weekend. Leeds are playing
Everton are
tomorrow
playing
night.
Southampton. Everton are playing Southampton on. Yeah, but because we do the the roundup on a Thursday, it's weird if we missed a game out.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So yeah, Leeds
What's the
versus
game?
Southampton. What are you saying?
Uh, 3-1 Leeds.
I'm gonna say 3-1 Leeds as well.
2 2-1 Leeds.
Right, okay, and with that, because it's going to be right on to midnight, Sam, do you want to bring us home, as you so often do?
Mm. Well, everybody, that is the end.
I feel like I'm listening to an episode of Jack and Ori. Well, everybody, this story's over now.
Well, everybody, that's us for another week. Thank you so much for joining us here on Football Central. I'm sorry if we have kept you awake for so long. We were meant to start at 8 o'clock, but we were doing other things and then chatting, and yeah, it went on a bit long. So I do apologise for that. We will be back next
Sunday.
Thursday.
Sunday for United.
Oh yeah, we will be back next Sunday for Manchester United versus Newcastle United. And yes, and we will probably be doing live and exclusive pre-match build-up and post-match as well. So please join me and the team for that. And my big thanks to a very laughing TubeMix tonight.
Yeah, you're a bit of it giggly.
Better to laugh than to cry.
The man whose ability to put his sleep to one side never ceases to amaze me, Mr. JLIWheels.
Well, you know, some things are just more important.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure, never a chore.
And the last thing from me, if you have liked today's show, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the TubeMix YouTube channel.
Oh, sorry. Let me do a correct outro for you. And also, I'd like to thank one of my oldest friends, the only man I would let fuck me up the arse, Mr. Sam Taylor.
Excuse me. Let me just have some water. And so,
No,
if
I
you
kid,
have
of course.
liked today's show, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the TubeMix YouTube channel. But I wouldn't do it now because it's very late and I'm very scared.
Don't worry,
Stay
darling.
safe, Stay well.
You're not famous.
We will see you soon.
Yeah.
All right.
We're almost at the end of all this COVID crap. Don't worry. Keep positive.
That's if you don't bum me up.
Hey.
first.
hey, I'm not going to do anything to you. I've got better things to do.
Good. Right. On that note, take care, everyone. Bye bye.
If I don't see you for a week, I'll see you through a window. Ta-ra.
Good night.
And that's the transfer window.